Cheap magnetic lashes absolutely do feel heavy.
I knew.
Yeah, if you buy a low-quality mass-produced pair, the magnets are bulky, the band is stiff, and you will physically feel the drag on your eyelid with every single blink.
Oh, that sounds awful.
It gets worse. The alignment, especially with the sandwich method, takes practice. If you don't snap them together perfectly flush against the root of your lash, the weight will cause them to droop down and literally obscure your vision.
So the engineering of the magnet itself is what separates a good experience from an exhausting one.
Precisely. High-quality magnetic lashes solve this weight issue through microtechnology. The magnets in the Revolution Fine set, for example, are engineered to be so thin they are virtually weightless, and the band is soft enough to flex with the natural curve of the eye.
That makes a huge difference.
It really does. For someone who absolutely hates the sensation of glue, or who just wants to throw their lashes on in 2 seconds before a virtual meeting and pull them off the second the camera turns off, a well-engineered magnetic lash is the perfect tool.
So we have these two incredibly distinct systems. You've got clusters requiring glue and patience for a week-long payoff versus magnetics offering instant gratification and zero mess.
Exactly.
It seems like the best way for someone to make a decision in that aisle isn't to look at the style of the lash, but to look at their own daily lifestyle.
You hit the nail on the head. Aesthetic comes second. Routine comes first. You choose clusters if you want the most natural, highly customizable look possible. You want a week-long wear so you wake up looking finished, and you do not mind taking the time to master bonding glue.
Right.
It is designed for the person who wants very low daily maintenance, but is willing to perform higher weekly maintenance.
So clusters are kind of like investing in a perfectly tailored suit. You take the time to get it fitted exactly to your measurements. It takes a little effort and tailoring to get it right initially, but then you wear it all week and you look impeccably put together without even thinking about it.
I love that analogy, yes. And then you choose magnetics. If your mornings are rushed, you absolutely despise the mess and sensory feel of adhesives. And you want something you can easily apply and remove daily.
Okay.
It is for the person prioritizing instant results and zero long-term commitment.
So magnetics are your high-end designer jacket. You could be wearing sweatpants, but you throw this jacket on right before you walk out the door, you look instantly elevated, and you take it off the second you get back home.
Perfectly said. Now, there is a third option we should mention just to complete the spectrum. The guide notes that for a very specific use case, like a special one-night event.
Like a wedding or a gala?
Exactly.
Yeah.
For that, a traditional strip lash still serves a purpose, though they do note that for events with heavy photography, cluster lashes still tend to photograph better.
Oh, why is that?
Because they mimic the natural, irregular growth patterns of human hair more accurately than a uniform, solid strip.
That makes total sense. And Revolution Finds actually carries all three of these categories, right? The 280 and 640-piece cluster kits, the reusable magnetics, and the traditional strips.
Yep, they have the whole lineup, so you can shop entirely based on what fits your specific day.
But let's say I've picked my lane. Like I bought the magnetic ones or I bought the clusters. I feel like I still have a fundamental problem.
What's that?
Whenever I put any kind of false lash on, regardless of the brand or the price, it looks incredibly obvious.
Oh, I hear this all the time.
I end up looking like I have caterpillars glued to my face. The inner corner always stabs my eye, and there's always a visible gap.
Yeah, the guide actually flags this as the biggest trap in the beauty aisle. People assume the technology does all the work for them.
Guilty as charged.
But the most expensive, perfectly engineered lash in the world will look terrible if you ignore the physical mechanics of how it actually sits on the eye. The guide walks through 3 non-negotiable rules for applying any false lash.
Okay, I clearly need the first rule because my biggest issue is the physical pain. Straight out of the box, the inner corner of the lash band always ends up poking the sensitive skin near my tear duct, causing my eye to water all night.
Yeah, you are experiencing that because you are skipping the very first step, which is trimming.
Trimming. I never trim them.
Almost nobody does. But almost every false eyelash manufactured today is designed to fit the absolute largest eye shape possible. Right? So if you take a lash straight out of the box and try to apply it to an average or smaller eye, the band is simply too long. If you don't trim it to your specific eye width, the ends will droop down past your natural lash line at the outer corners.
Which physically drags your eye shape down and makes you look tired?
Exactly. And as you experience, the excess band at the inner corner will constantly poke your tear duct. You have to cut the lash from the outer edge to match your specific width before any adhesive or magnets are even involved.
Wow. Okay, so customizing the width prevents the drooping and the stabbing. That makes perfect sense. But that doesn't solve the flapping. Like, I will get the lash perfectly secured, and an hour into the night, the inner corner just pops off the skin and starts flapping in the wind.
That is a tension issue, and it brings us to the second rule. Direction matters.
Direction.
Yeah. Most people naturally try to apply a strip lash, starting from the inner corner, anchoring it by the tear duct, and dragging it across to the outer corner.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. It feels intuitive.
It does, but the pre-manufactured curve of the lash band almost never perfectly aligns with the unique curve of your specific eyeball. So as you stick it down from inside to outside, you're actually stretching the band and building up kinetic tension.
Oh, I see.
The adhesive might hold it for a little while, but eventually the plastic band just wants to snap back to its original shape.
And the inner corner is the weakest anchor point, so it pings right off.
Exactly. The mechanical fix for this is to apply from the middle outward. You drop the lash right in the center of your lash line first to anchor the middle.
Okay.
Then you secure the outer corner, and finally, you tuck in the inner corner. Starting in the middle distributes the tension evenly across the entire band.
Which prevents that kinetic buildup that causes the inner corner to pop off. Middle-out application to manage the tension. I love that.
It's a game changer.
Okay, but what about the gap? Even when I get the tension right, I always end up with this highly visible strip of bare eyelid flesh between my real eyelashes and the fake ones. It literally screams fake lash every time I blink.
This is where the third rule comes in,
Yeah.
and it's called the mirror trick. This changes everything.
I'm ready.
Think about your natural instinct when applying eye makeup. Mascara, eyeliner, anything. What do? You look straight into the mirror, you lift your chin slightly, and you widen your eyes as much as possible to see what you're doing.
Yes, that is exactly what I do. I open my eyes as wide as they go so I don't, poke myself in the eye.
Right. It feels like the safest approach, but it completely ruins the application. It comes down to basic facial anatomy. When you look up and widen your eyes, your eyelid skin actually folds back on itself.
Okay.
That folding action hides the very root of your natural lash line. So if you apply a false lash while looking up, you're visually forced to place the band higher up on the eyelid skin above that fold.
Oh my gosh.
So when your eye relaxes back to a normal resting position, the fold smooths out, revealing that obvious visible gap of flesh between where your real lashes grow and where you glued the fake ones.
The anatomy of the eyelid fold is causing the gap. I'm placing it too high because my open eye is literally hiding the actual root.
Exactly. So to fix this, you have to change the geometry of how you're looking at your face. Do not look straight ahead and do not look up. You need to position your mirror down near your chin and look down into it.
Look down.
Yes. When you look down into a mirror, you stretch the eyelid completely smooth. You expose the absolute base, the true root of your natural lashes. This allows you to place the false lash band, or the DIY cluster, seamlessly right against the skin where your real hair grows. Looking down allows you to achieve that completely undetectable blend.
Look down to expose the root. It is such a tiny mechanical shift, but it completely re-engineers the whole application process.
It really does.
Getting those three things right, trimming the width, managing the tension by going middle out, and looking down into the mirror to expose the root, that transforms even a basic drugstore lash into something that looks professionally done.
And that's the secret. The knowledge of how the product interacts with your anatomy is what bridges the gap between looking like you're wearing a fake lash and looking like you just have naturally incredible lashes.
Wrapping up this deep dive into the Revolution Finds Guide, I think the biggest takeaway is that the beauty aisle does not have to be this paralyzing, intimidating space.
No, not at all.
You don't have to be afraid of ordering the wrong coffee anymore. Whether you opt for the week-long, totally custom architecture of a 640-piece cluster kit, or you decide you want the zero-glue magnetic physics of the quick change lashes, success just comes down to matching the technology to your lifestyle. Revolution Finds proves the options are there, you just have to pick your lane. And of course, no matter what system you buy, remember to look down into that mirror.
It is incredibly empowering when you stop fighting the technology and start using it the way it was engineered to be used.
Absolutely. But I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over as you go about your day. We've spent this entire time talking about application tricks and lifestyle fits, but consider for a moment the sheer amount of unseen engineering that goes into this one specific aisle of the store.
It's staggering.
We are talking about advanced material science. Engineers have spent years developing microscopic, weightless magnets that can hold securely without fatiguing delicate eyelid skin. Chemists have formulated specialized bonding agents that can flex with human hair, withstand water, and remain safe near the cornea for an entire week.
Yeah.
All of this immense scientific effort, all of this microtechnology, has been developed solely to perfectly mimic something as incredibly simple and mundane as human hair. It makes you wonder, as you walk through the rest of the store, what other everyday, boring beauty routines are quietly waiting to be completely revolutionized by modern engineering? Something to think about next time you're stuck in the beauty aisle.